Never before has an administration been so transparent in their corruption. This is just another day. While the war overseas continues to intensify, let's not forget there's a war right here at home that continues to rage on as well.
We have a ruling from that 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco, considering the legal battle between the Trump administration and the state of California.
Trump versus California, one of society's most well-known rivalries. It's like Coke versus Pepsi, except if Coke violated the Constitution by going around Pepsi and sending in the National Guard to protect their carbonation? Okay, so maybe not exactly the perfect metaphor, but let's keep going.
Now we have a ruling here from a 3-judge panel, as you said, of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. And this is a ruling in favor of President Trump, essentially allowing the president to continue to have control of the National Guard troops in L.A. here.
Damn it, Coke. So while it's clear that Donald Trump overstepped his constitutional authority by going around Governor Newsom and sending in the National Guard, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals panel ruled otherwise. And as you'd expect, our commander-in-chief handled this news with the level of professionalism and grace you'd expect from anyone elected to the highest office in the land.
We had a big victory last night in the Court of Appeals with respect to Los Angeles, but really the country, where Gavin Newsom, who's really an incompetent governor, he's just doing a terrible job between his fires, between all the houses burning down, his forest fires, and now Los Angeles. He sued us for going in and for helping him.
Wow, another lawsuit from an ungrateful plaintiff. Can you believe the audacity of these people? Taking Trump to court simply for helping them? Like that time Trump selflessly helped E. Jean Carroll in a department store in the 90s, and she sued him anyway. The nerve. This ruling from the Ninth Circuit is terrible news for the people of California and for our country as a whole, because it awards Donald Trump with a, quote, big win, which pretty much gives him carte blanche to pull the same move in other cities and states around the country. Look, hiring Stephen Miller to babysit your kids is terrible policy. Giving an autocrat unchecked power is worse, especially because things like this are happening.
Well, ICE is now denying that agents were ever at Dodger Stadium. So do we actually know what really went down yesterday?
Essentially, what the Department of Homeland Security then said was that, look, it was actually CBP agents. It was Custom Borders Patrol agents that were simply parked nearby and were not involved in any immigration enforcement raids.
At this point, believing anything DHS says is like believing a teenager when they say they're not high, they're just really hungry and find their screensaver hilarious. Time and time again, this administration's lack of honesty and transparency has weakened Americans' ability to trust anything they do or say. It's not just horrific that these violent ICE raids are taking place all around our country. It's that once these people are taken into custody, the people who should have access to certify their treatment as humane are being denied.
And with disputes over the basic facts about the conditions of detention centers, and detention centers already over capacity, which we just know simply by the numbers, and federal agents arresting so many more people every day, the need for oversight is clear. And by law, members of Congress are supposed to be able to access federal immigration detention facilities at any time they want to perform that oversight. But over and over and over again, all across the country, they are getting turned away.
Yeah, our ICE facilities are now like nightclubs with velvet ropes and unwavering bouncers. But at least when those bouncers turn you away, they have the balls to show their faces.
They are allowed to get access to these facilities anytime they want by law. They continue to be denied entry. And take a look at how Congressman Jonathan Jackson and Raja Krishnamoorthi were treated when they tried to get into the same facility on Wednesday.
I am an officer with ICE.
You're an officer with ICE? Do you have a badge? Do you have an ID? Can we see it?
I don't have to show that to you.
You don't have to show it?
I'm telling you to leave. I've already identified myself. I'm an officer with ICE.
Can you show me a badge or an ID?
You are not allowed to be here. Police are coming. Okay?
What are we doing this improper, sir?
Now, hold on. I've actually encountered this problem before. You only pay at the first window. It's the second window where you get what you need. I'm sorry, but I find the utter lack of transparency from this administration just a tad hard to swallow when this has been their refrain since taking office.
I would like to point out to all of you once again, have access to the most transparent and accessible president in American history. There has never been a president who communicates with the American people and the American press corps as openly and authentically as the 45th and now 47th president of the United States.
Yeah, so look, saying tons of words and communicating are very different things. Toddlers talk a lot too. I wouldn't brag about their level of communication. And by the way, do you know what word was mysteriously absent from Caroline Leavitt's podium decree about the level of Trump's accessibility? Honesty. Because that is the one word that can't be said. Well, I suppose there's another.
The word, it starts with an E. You know what the word is? If I ever used it, I'd be run out of town.
Man, that guy has such a hard-on for the word erecting. Look, Donald Trump is definitely transparent, but not through his words, through his actions. He has been crystal clear that he doesn't respect the rule of law, he doesn't respect institutions of higher learning, he doesn't respect immigrants. I mean, good Lord, he doesn't even respect his own vice president.
We've endorsed JP, right? J.D. Mandel.
Nice. But one of J.D. Mandel's boss's biggest offenses is his lack of respect for free and fair elections. And that's what makes this ruling by the Ninth Circuit so alarming. Donald Trump is going to use this as his green light to chip away at something that is at the core of our democracy. And boy, has he been transparent about it. Just this week, he tweeted, "We must expand efforts to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities, such as Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, where millions upon millions of illegal aliens reside. These and other such cities are the core of the Democrat power center, where they use illegal aliens to expand their voter base, cheat in elections, and grow the welfare state, robbing good-paying jobs and benefits from hardworking American citizens." And mentioning election theft in a tweet about ICE deportations was, unlike Eric, not an accident. Back in 2020, despite sending out his best man who put his blood, hair dye, sweat, and tears in defining instances of voter fraud, they came up empty. But facts matter to this man as much as age matters to this man, which is why I will be horrified but not surprised when Trump sends the National Guard into other cities in states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia to protect hardworking Americans from election interference. Last time around, not only did Trump try to seize power, he also tried to seize voting machines to achieve that result. But fortunately, there were people in government who had what members of this administration lack, a spine. People like Attorney General Bill Barr, FBI Director Chris Wray, and Vice President Mike Pence, all people who stood in Trump's way and were also transparent in their declarations that their boss was a fucking liar. But this time around, does anyone really think that Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and J.D. Vance would do the same? Hell no. These people will be on the front lines handcuffing voting machines, meaning that Trump will not only get no push from within the government, he'll also have the military stationed in the states to do his on-the-ground enforcement there. That's chilling stuff, because Trump's second term has been all about fixing the shortcomings of his first. The failure of this court to recognize that cannot be overstated. This ruling by the Ninth Circuit isn't a big win for Trump, it is a big loss for the future of democracy. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.